Well, the end of the 2013 season for Sounders fans didn't really finish how they would have wanted to. Lost a little bit of momentum coming in after a tremendous middle part of 2013. And what are the reasons? Well, football teams can lose their form at any moment, I guess. They ran into a couple of injury problems late on. Clint Dempsey was banged up, and he was the guy that Seattle had really invested in to push them, I suppose, all the way to that first MLS Cup final. And coming up against a very good Portland team who clearly had improved massively under Caleb Porter in 2013 was just a little push too far, I think. Big learning experience for the Sounders. Were they disappointed? Yes. Were they frustrated? Yes. Will they learn from the experience? Absolutely.
I think the takeaway was just that they were so inconsistent. When they were good, they were as good as any Sounders team ever had been. When they were bad, they were about as dispirited and dispiriting to watch as any Sounders team has ever been. That probably speaks to what we've been hearing this season, that it was a bad locker room, and sometimes they came in as a team and sometimes they didn't. So they spent the offseason kind of rebuilding with an eye towards that, and so I think off we go to see how that worked.
2013 was obviously highlighted by the huge meltdown at the end of the season. Just an utter collapse, really, from a team that looked to have a pretty commanding lead in the Supporters' Shield and ultimately had to sweat it out in terms of getting into the playoffs and didn't last long. So, obviously the takeaways are, when you look at the end of this season, they made it to the conference semifinals. It doesn't seem like a horrible disappointment, but just the way the season had gone up until that final month just really dictates the whole year for me. And then it mandated whether or not you're going to have either massive offseason changes or overwhelming, completely starting from scratch changes. So they opted for the massive changes and have made, just a myriad of changes with, all positions of the field, midfield, forward, defender, goalkeeper, everywhere. They elected to retain the coaching staff, which was obviously the big decision in the offseason. So it's really a fresh start going into 2014.
What I see with the newcomers this year is it's a common theme, and these themes are MLS veterans. These are quality players, but they understand the league, they understand the season, they understand the travel and the personalities and the style of play. I'm biased, but I played and know Chad Marshall well from playing with him at Stanford University, and what you get with him is a proven defensive leader, someone who's good on set pieces, someone's going to be an anchor for your back line, and in Marcos Papa, you got someone who provides great service and who's dangerous. Kenny Cooper's a proven goal scorer, top 20 goal scorer in MLS history. These are guys that know what it takes to win championships, and that's what they're here for, is to win more championships for this club.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you're going to get impact newcomers at every single position. The ones that probably stand out to me are maybe Chad Marshall first. I mean, he has the potential to be the best defender this franchise has ever had. He's about as dominant in the air as anyone in the league. And, Ziggy's mentioned that he's kind of come in with a renewed spirit. So after being with a certain club for 10 years, maybe this will freshen things up for him. Maybe he'll get back to the Defender of the Year type talent he was with the Crew when Ziggy was coaching him. Stefan Frey will, I think, be a major contributor this year. I expect him at least to start most, if not all, the games, but Ziggy hasn't made that announcement yet, of course. And, Marco Papa, you're looking at a guy that can really replace the production that you've been getting the past couple of years from Mauro Rosales and Steve Zakawani. So he's maybe a guy that you can, maybe double up there in terms of production with the two wingers that you lost. And, Kenny Cooper, it's hard to know what to expect from him. He's kind of been inconsistent with his big years and his down years, but yeah, certainly the stamp of these newcomers is going to play a big part in 2014, I think.
I went down to Charleston, which is the first time I got a real chance to get a good look at this team, sort of in game situations, and I had several good takeaways. I like the back line. I particularly think Chad Marshall is going to be a goal scorer. He was really dangerous on set pieces. He just he didn't score, but he was dangerous constantly. Marco Papa, I think, is really going to be a difference maker kind of player. He's wearing that number 10, and he looked every bit the number 10. Kenny Cooper has been very up and down, but his ups are quite high. Concern, I think, is still goalkeeper. This is the first time that they've gone in without a keeper that you could just automatically say is among the best handful in the league. This is much more of a prove it. I believe it'll be Stephen Fry, but you're kind of projecting what he did in Toronto and thinking he'll be better with a better defense or a better team in front of him. But we'll see, and that's a big question mark to take into a season, and one Sounders have never taken into a season before.
I'd say look out for Marco Papa. He's come in on the left-hand side of midfield. He's a genuine left-footed player and adds real balance to that midfield for Seattle. They haven't had too many genuine left-footed creative players like Papa in the last 5 years, so he can put his foot on the ball. Something similar to Mauro Rosales. He can get the team playing. He's great at free kicks, corners, any kind of set pieces, and I think he will provide that crucial word balance in the middle of the park. Chad Marshall comes in as a strong, strapping two-time MLS Defender of the Year, played under Ziggy Schmidt at Columbus. He is fantastic in the air, so look out for him again at set pieces, both offensively and defensively.
I think I probably have the Sounders about 3rd or 4th in the West at the start of the year. I think it's hard to place them above LA or Portland right now based on all the changes and based on how last year went. So I certainly think the Sounders will be a playoff team, be in position to, avoid that knockout round game that they're in last year. And, the way it is with the playoffs, I mean, if you're rolling at the playoffs, you would expect if the Sounders get things going that they can be a team that contend for the MLS Cup. As we've seen, they had the talent to do that last year, but they weren't rolling and crashed out early. So it's hard to gauge what type of run they'll make then, but I certainly expect them to be in the playoff mix.
We think they're gonna get the bye. I think they'll be top 3 in the West, and I think pretty much like every Sounders team that there's been, I think they're among the handful of teams that you look at the start of the season and say they've got the capability of winning MLS Cup. As a practical matter, what that means is that I suspect that they'll make the playoffs, and then after that, as we all know, it's really a crapshoot. But I think if everything comes together, they're about as talented, I think they're as talented as any team in the league, and it's up to Ziggy to get that out of them.
2014 could be the season that Seattle gets it right. They have a huge array of attacking talent. They've brought in experience at the back. The big question is whether the team will melt together and form a cohesive unit. If they do that, then I think they could go all the way.
I don't think anyone in this organization from top to bottom wants anything else in the championship. And to say you'd be satisfied to get in the playoffs, it would just be inaccurate. So everyone's here to play, everyone's here to win, and everyone thinks that we have the group of guys that's going to be able to do that. So I trust our staff, I trust our owners, I trust our coaches, and I trust our players.